Good afternoon. David?
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Several players used the word, I think, frustration in the aftermath last night, which is certainly understandable. But how do you guard against frustration creeping in the farther away you get from the games, and how can that hurt what you want to do?
I mean, definitely. I mean, clearly, I would say frustration's accurate. I think that's very natural, common post-game. And I think today is really the time that it starts. You know, you start your process. You know, the guys have been in through here. But, yeah, I don't see it being an issue at all of moving forward.
So basically, you just address it by we get back to work. These are tasks.
Definitely. Yeah, address it individually. You know, I think just like any time when you hit spots like this, there's more one-on-one conversations. You know, it really starts with the coaching staff. You know, that starts on the plane. Obviously, a very quiet plane ride home last night, and everybody was pretty much dialed in, watching the tape and getting ready for this morning. So, we've had a chance to look at it. Frankly, we've started our process with Atlanta. Trying to stay on schedule, but try to get on the schedule. But we definitely have to move forward. But yeah, I think it's clearly understandable that everybody last night was frustrated.
Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas. I don't know if you heard or saw Trayvon Diggs come back out of the locker room and address a media member. Do you talk to him about something like that, or specifically him about with his uniform on, still worried about what somebody's tweeting? Is that part of the frustration? Yeah,
I think that's clearly an example of frustration. But I think we have to be better in those moments. I always talk about staying on the high road. It's part of our responsibility in this business. But I am not ignorant or naive to the fact that this generation, that's part of the world they live in. The social media world, and you have to manage that. That's part of being a professional athlete, and that's part of representing this organization properly.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. When you've had teams in the past that have gone through frustrating times, what are the messages and themes that you've used to get them out of that?
We do a lot of messaging. To me, themes are something that is always fluent. Frankly, from my approach, I think you do need to take the emotion out of the thought process, and that's why I think it's important to start that on Wednesdays. Not as much on Mondays. To me, Monday's evaluation time. It's still fresh, it's still sizzling. And I want it to be that way. I think we all need to feel it. I think it creates the urgency and the importance of what's in front of us. So I think the evaluation Monday on either side of the outcome is critical to improving and growing, and that's what today is.
When you go through situations like this, from players and coaches, is there a belief in either side? Like the coaches believe, hey, can these guys get it done, and the players believe, hey, these guys telling me the right things?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about commitment. I think just like anything, there's a formula in everything we do as far as getting the plan put together, whether it's a long-term plan or how you train in the off season all the way through up training camp, and no different week to week, getting ready to go win a football game. So that's why today is important. It's important to always go through the evaluation process, the theory, and understanding that the most important video of the week is the one from yesterday. It's all part of that self-improvement. All the other things, the statistics, the conversations are really totally secondary or auxiliary, clearly, to the fact of your own personal action was what is most important. So that that's the way we'll totally operate. But with that, you got to get the details down. The details, it definitely improves the communication. And these are two things that I feel like it's deja vu because I stood up here last Monday and talked about it. We didn't hit the target as well as I'd like. I was very pleased with the preparation going into the game. But for example, we had communication errors on plays 4, 5, and 6, and 7 in the first offensive drive. So, these are the things we're just staying on top of the facts and the exacts of what happened in the game, because it's specific to how we want to play, and everything's affected by that when you don't get into the rhythm and the run game doesn't get going and the action pass doesn't come off of that. So these things all tie together. So, going back to the first part, I just think clearly the details, and then the communication, and then from that you have production, and then the confidence grows, and then the physicality grows, winning, production, and everything takes care of itself.
Sadis of The Athletic. Mike, you mentioned before Dak knows at this point in his career the value of protecting the ball. How do you kind of explain some of these uncharacteristic interceptions, specifically like the second one last night?
Yeah, I think just clearly, if you're always looking at patterns, and the fact when the pressure goes up, from a protection standpoint, he got caught trying to make a play, and we got to be better in that spot. I mean, particularly the second one. There's, that ball needs to be thrown away. We didn't get the leverage, on the release of the stack concept that we were running. Didn't get the proper leverage, so. We come out that it's 3rd and 4, and you're in favorable down distance. But punting is good. I think it's the common sense approach when you look at complementary football. Every series on offense needs to end in a kick. Whether it's a field goal, whether it's an extra point, or a punt. And we will not and we cannot continue to play with the giveaways here, because we're -8 as a football team. That's the number one focal point of a complementary football team. Playing to that method, and we need to be better.
With how much Dak is getting hit in some of these games, do you attribute that to him slow on the reads, receivers not running the routes, offensive line, combination of all? How do you see those hits coming about?
Trying to think of a respectful way to answer this question. If it was one thing, I think. In this day and age, at this level, it would be corrected. I just think like anything, there's 3-step concepts, there's 5-step concepts, and with that, there's a time clock when the ball should come out. There's play extension when you want the play extended. So, I can't really. It's just not one general, answer to that very general question. So, we need to be better.
Nick Harris, former Star Telegram. Do you feel like the rhythm between Dak and CD is back, and what was your evaluation?
I think it's improving. I think it's something that they're very conscientious of. No one knows better than them too that the time they missed. With the extra communication time together. We talked last week when I stood here about the group meetings, spending more time not only with them two but the receivers and quarterbacks. So we got to stay the process. We as a staff had long meetings this morning, and just got to make sure that we're taking the time in those specific areas, whether it's that particular topic of the timing of the routes and the quarterback and the footwork, that we're spending the time that we can. We're not going to increase practice by half an hour, things like that. So, you got to stay within the realm of your training regimen. We'll do that. But, I think they're definitely getting better.
And then on that same point, did you see some of the practicing from last week and the changes that you made kind of translate into the game, or is it too early?
Yeah, like I said, I was very pleased with the preparation going into this game. And I think clearly we were very confident that we were going to go in there and win the game. And that's where you need to be week in and week out. So we're still green in some areas. I don't want to be a broken record up here, but we just got to keep working. Like I said in the beginning of this start of this season, I truly love this locker room. It's a great group of men that they work, but we need some improvement. And the first thing with that is details and communication is a starting point, and we need to be better in that area.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You talk about turnovers and plus minus, and you guys have always been on the positive side of that. How frustrating is it to see that you're not where you normally are in that area?
Personally, I'm very frustrated. I think that's, if you want to be known for something as a football team, it's taking care of the football and taking it away. I think I know my experience in this league would reflect that. I quote Brian Schottenheimer. Marty Schottenheimer's probably turning over in his grave right now watching us play. Being -8, so it's a focal point, but. We can't change yesterday. We can only work on today and improve moving forward. And that's our mindset. We know how to do it. We've done it. And but they got to quit being words and exercises and practice drills. It needs to equate to Sundays, and that's our focus.
How much of a benefit is it that a lot of your players last night talked about, hey, we've been through adversity before? Because at one point, Philly was going to win the division, and you guys ended up winning the division, and you overcame some stuff.
Yes, I think all these moments are really good. As you get through them, you don't want to be here, but there's such value to go through adversity moments. You learn so much about each other, but most importantly, you learn so much about yourself. It's the man in the mirror is the biggest challenge, and we all recognize that. So as long as we stay focused on that and deal with the responsibility that we have here, with the externals, and handle that professionally and properly, that's important. But yeah, this is the right mix of individuals. So I feel like we have that.
Garrett Bodell, CBS Sports. Mike, Tyler Guyton's first game back since week 5. What did you see from his performance?
I thought he played okay. We helped him a lot. So I mean, I think he's someone as a young player is part of that details and communication focus, and that starts with me. Because it's never just a player when things aren't as clean and clear. So we like I said, I felt very good about the tweaks and adjustments we made in the practice realm, but it didn't carry over. When we have those kind of mistakes in the first 15 plays, or the first calls that are well rehearsed, that's something we kicked ourselves in the ass today in the offensive staff meeting, because why is this happening? So we need to do a better job, and they need to do a better job. So we'll get to the bottom of it.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. You said it just now a few minutes ago that you love this locker room. You said that several times this year. What Trayvon did last night, does that make you worry at all about your locker room?
No, I think it's part of the frustration. I think it's a part of the frustration of the being part of a very competitive arena. One that like you always do, you prepare for. You have an expectation to win. I can't speak on his specific feelings at that moment, but once again, we do have a responsibility to represent the Cowboys, and we understand that. And I'm not probably the right person to talk about being in that position and what it feels like, but I do have children in their 20s, and in this generation, that's the world that they live in. So and it needs to be managed.
Mike Edwarder, WFAA. You've obviously existed now at the opposite end of the turnover margin spectrum from where you've been the last few years, especially. Is it more an issue in your mind of protecting the ball on offense, or is it a bigger taking it away on defense is a bigger factor?
Well, I think it's bigger on taking care of it, because just like anything, if you take care of the football every single week, then you're never going to lose the turnover ratio. I mean, at worst, it'll be 0-0. So you have to take care of it. But on the other side of it, our position, we keep track of not only takeaways but the takeaway opportunities. You got to first be in position to take away, and with that, that's where the energy, the footwork, and in the proper angles, and when you talk about the pursuit and finish of the defense in your coverage units, that's how we train. So the opportunities need to go up. We can improve there, because as those opportunities go up, the takeaways go. We executed takeaways at a higher level the last 3 years, but our opportunities are not far off of the last couple of years. So we're getting there, but we're not converting. So we just got to keep working.
When you get guys like Micah and Land back, will that potentially make a significant difference?
I mean, I think their individual statistics in that category speaks for themselves. Definitely they're impact players, and what Jerron accomplished last year, is. Was the best ever. So, and obviously Micah is that impact pressure player, and they definitely will help.
Babe Loffenberg, 105.3 The Fan. Mike, the recurring theme seems to be communication and getting better communication. How do you go about that?
Well, I think like anything, it starts in the classroom. Everything's broken down in a training regimen. You got a classroom environment, you got a practice environment, you have the game day environment. So, and communication is a common thread. It's the fuel that makes all three of those environments rock and roll. So, the classroom environment, I think we do an exceptional job. I think really, in particular, let's just talk about the offensive line group. I think the way those guys, I think when you have a veteran, in the presence of a Zach Martin, it brings a different level to that room. And I've been fortunate to be, been around some great rooms, and I think this is clearly one of those rooms. So I think we clearly have that in a classroom environment. Then you take it to the practice environment, it starts in the walkthroughs. We've been, very diligent in the communication and the volume, and as far as the how loud the community just blatantly point out the declaration, blatantly echo every call. So we just got to get it to translate to the practice field and get it to translate to the game environment. So the process is in place. We need to be better.
And going into that game specifically, yesterday, did you feel like you kind of had the communication thing down with what they were presenting?
I mean, there's nothing that, their defense is, the way they line up in the scheme, it's not of high volume. So when you don't play a high volume alignment defense, obviously you're going to have more movement. So you try to emulate their stunt games and on what they're doing, but the speed of it is really what comes down to the game. So there was nothing really what they did from an assignment standpoint that we were surprised by. It's just, you got to see it in real time, make the call, and go play. So it's part of football.
Todd. You mentioned Micah and Bland. Do you have an idea of what they'll be able to do for you this week?
I don't. I haven't checked in with Britt and them. So as far as they had rehab work today, but I haven't talked to those guys about those guys yet.
When you look at the pass rush, obviously, Micah impacts that a lot, but it seemed like you tried to bring some pressure, and that still wasn't getting home at times yesterday too. I don't know if that's fair in your mind, but how do you improve your pass rush when Micah is not around?
Well, I mean, if you can't get it done with 4, you do it with 5, and then there's you got simulated pressures and things like that. So, and I think just like anything, when it's difficult as a play caller, offense or defense, and when you do try to hit things and they don't work, and it's something we talked openly about, during the bye week and the evaluation is, you still got to trust the call so you can get it off. And, I know personally, just last night I took home way too many calls. The protection, and the hits, affected the way, I called the particular part of the passing game, specifically, with the coverages that they set in their base coverages and, had a number of things conceptually that you wanted to get to. So, and that's the challenge of it. So when things aren't going right, and it's just like anything in the game of football, it starts up front. It doesn't for both the offense and the defense. And, we got to, we want to get to be able to play more balance. We played complementary football for the first half. In the fourth quarter, and the third quarter was they owned it, and they got away from us too far where we couldn't catch them. So, but the way we played in the first half and the fourth quarter, it was definitely had us in position to win the game.
Clarence.
You frustrating a few times here. You went back to the basics and off during the bye week. And I know Dak and some other guys talked about the communication was high in practice last week. How demoralizing that you had that good communication in practice, and then the first few plays of the game you have communication breakdown.
I think frustration is part of not winning a game, but the other verbs as far as carrying it forward, these are learning experiences. I talked to you last week about relishing this opportunity. It's not about the opportunity of having more and more adversity, but having experience here, I think it is a great opportunity for us to show the commitment and belief that we have, and we need to keep it about football. We can't waste our time on anything that doesn't help us win. And UConn people are so generous with all this insight that you're giving our fans with these outstanding questions, and we appreciate that. But, that's as far as it goes, because I'm about winning, and everybody's got a job to do. And our job's to win, and my job is to make sure we stay about winning and not get caught up in the other stuff.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.